Union Law and Justice Minister Kiren Rijiju has upped the ante against independent India's first Prime Minister Pandit Jawahar Nehru, and what the Law Minister now terms are his 5 historic blunders on Kashmir. Kiren Rijiju now joins me on the show and this big political debate that started on Kashmir once again. Mr. Rijiju, welcome on India Today. Sir, I want to understand from you. This is a very serious charge that you've leveled against Pandit Jawahar Nehru, especially the aspect where you say that he had his agenda first and not India first. Explain what was Pandit Nehru's political interest that he put ahead of India's national interest.
First of all, today is Pandit Jawahar Nehru's birthday. He was our first Prime Minister and I pay my tributes to him. And as a part of the democratic system in which we are working, nobody should stand above criticism. Whatever has been done, if it is wrong, we should correct it, we should admit it. If anything good has been done, we should appreciate it. When it comes to the issue of Kashmir, we all are concerned because Kashmir has been an issue which has caused so much of loss, so much of pain, so much of tragedy for too many people. And looking at the history, it is very important that the facts of the history must be put before the people of the country. So what I have done is simply telling the truth to the country. All the records, all the papers which I have quoted are well before the people. Anybody who disputes these facts can go back to the records of the parliament and check it by themselves. So I have not stated anything on my own. I have not distorted the history. Rather, I have put the facts of the history before the nation.
Sir, you quote from Pandit Nehru's Lok Sabha speech from 1952 to say that the question of accession came up before him in July 1947, but that was informal. It came up to him informally. Was it only Pandit Jawahar Nehru's mistake, or was it a collective mistake of his cabinet and his government?
If any decision is taken collectively, or if there is any action or decision by the cabinet, we will put cabinet into question. But here it is Nehruji who himself have admitted that the matter came before him, the proposal came before him as an individual, and he said the time was not right for the Kashmir to be merged with India. So he in fact deferred the accession of Jammu and Kashmir with India. So that is how he prolonged it, he procrastinated the whole things and it delayed, and which led to the invasion of the Kabilas and all these people, Pakistani forces. And when Indian forces made the intervention, by that time the part of Kashmir, which is a Pakistan occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, this has been occupied by the Pakistani forces, and that is why we are concerned that due to the incompetency or inaction or wrong action by first Prime Minister Pandit Nehruji, India had to pay a heavy price, and all those blunders which were committed are being corrected. That is why I had stated the wrong done by Nehruji has been undone by Narendra Modi ji.
But Mr. Rijiju, wasn't Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru right to believe that Kashmir was a special case, and in his words, it would not be right or proper to rush things there? Was Pandit Nehru following the correct course of action?
No, that is not correct, because if every princely state is to be merged with the Union of India with the consultation of the then rulers, then why should Kashmir be treated separately when the Kashmir ruler Maharaja Hari Singh already had expressed his willingness to merge with India? Why Nehruji had said that Kashmir is different and the will of the people of Kashmir must be taken into account, and special treatment is to be given to Sheikh Abdullah Sahab? Why this different yardsticks were applied in the case of Kashmir, because of which the afterwards problem came. And when the Kashmir issue was taken to the United Nations under wrong provisions, then unnecessarily the internal issue has been externalized and it has been made as an international issue, and Pakistan has been given unduly platform and opportunity to raise in all the important international forums. So subsequently, then comes the Article 370. So there are so many issues combined which could be termed as a series of blunders by Pandit Nehru ji.
Again, when you talk about taking this issue to the United Nations, did Pandit Nehru as Prime Minister of India lack proper legal advice? Did he lack sound legal advice that he went to UN, as you argue, under the wrong article? Should he not have been advised better by then Law Minister or law officers of Government of India that Pakistan became a party and wasn't seen as an aggressor that Pakistan truly was in October 1947?
Precisely, that is my point, that Kashmir is an integral part of India. It should be treated as an internal matter. By taking Kashmir to United Nations, you are unnecessarily making it an international issue. So that is why I said these are some of the blunders which we must admit that it's a blunder. Of course, I can't go back and correct the history, but whatever is fact must be admitted. That is why the corrective course or whatever steps are to be taken has been taken by Modi ji. So these are something which everybody should accept it. I am not throwing something out of blue. These are well before the people. The facts are lying before us, and we should purely look from that angle only, based on the facts and figures.
Sir, you've also talked about this myth of UN mandated plebiscite. Why do you say UN mandated plebiscite was a myth? And you also talk about the creation of the divisive Article 370.
First of all, I already stated about why United Nations should come into the Kashmir affairs. So once Kashmir issue was brought before the United Nations, and they gave three conditions which you all very well know, that Pakistan had to withdraw their forces from the Pakistan occupied Kashmir and other areas. So that Pakistan didn't do, so the plebiscite and all doesn't come into the picture. So after that, what I am saying is, Article 370 has been created to put Kashmir as a distinct and separate identity which is not at par with the other states and union territories. Now, all the government of India has been launching important schemes, provisions. These were never applicable in Jammu and Kashmir. So now, after the abrogation of Article 70, the tribals are getting their rights, the scheduled castes are getting the benefits, the Bakarwal, the Gurjars are all recipients of the all the important and major schemes being initiated by the government of India. Women are getting their rights. So now the true spirit of democracy is now visible on the ground in Jammu and Kashmir. That is why Modi ji's historic decision and decision to remove Article 370 has been one of the most important decisions ever taken in the history of independent India.
Mr. Rijiju, for a moment, I want to take you back to 1946 when you write Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru plunged headlong into the Quit Kashmir movement. Now, this Quit Kashmir movement was against the Dogra Hindu ruler, that was Maharaja Hari Singh. Why was Pandit Nehru joining this Quit Kashmir movement wrong in your view?
Absolutely, it's so crystal clear that when we are talking about making India a free nation, and there in Kashmir they are talking about quit India, and this something like, Kashmir is always and has been always part of India, and to support a separatist movement in Kashmir by any Indian leader itself is wrong. Acharya Kripalanani also had mentioned about when he visited Kashmir. So that means within the Congress party, Pandit Nehruji's stand was different from rest of the Congress leaders.
Sir, as the Law and Justice Minister of India, the charges that you've leveled against Pandit Nehru are extremely serious, saying that he was trying to fulfill some kind of an agenda, putting personal and political agenda before national interest. Now, Maharaja Hari Singh in 1931 at the Round Table Conference made it very clear that he was an Indian first, a Maharaja later. But what was Pandit Nehru's agenda, as you put it, that came before putting India first or Indian national interest first?
In the words of Nehru himself, everything is crystal clear. That when he said that the interest of Sheikh Abdullah has to be taken into consideration, the people of Jammu and Kashmir, larger people of Jammu and Kashmir, which are majority of them are Muslims, are to be consulted. All these yardsticks, you can very well see that it was driven by Nehru himself. No other Congress leader had stated that other than the ruler, anybody should be consulted for the accession. That is why when Nehruji's personal relationship with Sheikh Abdullah is very well known, and Nehruji in his own words have said that the interest of the Sheikh Abdullah has to be taken into account, and the administrative reforms should be done before or prior to the accession of Kashmir. All this leads to one single conclusion, that Nehruji had his own agenda, which he put it above the national interest.
Mr. Rijiju, on what basis have you concluded that Maharaja Hari Singh did not want provisional accession to India and that this was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's idea? After all, the Maharaja had a standstill agreement both with Pakistan and with India before he could make up his mind.
Precisely when Maharaja Hari Singh ji had made his intention very clear, things should have been a natural follow-up of Maharaja Hari Singh's wish. So when that was being ignored and Nehruji kept on deterring the proposal being offered by Maharaja Hari Singh ji, that shows how Nehruji had played a different role. I am not saying that Nehruji is anti-national. I am not saying that Nehruji had something he wanted to harm India. But what he did led to the harming of the national interest, and which exists till today, till Modi ji became Prime Minister. The problem was so acute, and today only after so many years we can see that Kashmir has the full semblance of Indian rules, Indian laws on the ground.
Sir, are you as the Law and Justice Minister of India making the point that what you've termed as 5 historical blunders of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, 1947 onwards, they've been set right by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the action that was taken on the 5th of August 2019 on Article 370?
Absolutely. The blunders committed by Nehruji, all the wrongs done by Pandit Nehruji are completely undone by Narendra Modi ji, and this is a fact. And some people may look from the political angle, but for the years to come, generations to generation, people of India will salute Prime Minister Narendra Modi for once and for all settling the issue of Kashmir as it stands today. I am not talking about the Pakistan occupied Kashmir or Gilgit-Baltistan, but within the territory of Jammu and Kashmir, which is now well under the control of our administration, the history has been made and people will never forget that.
Mr. Rijiju, when you talk about Gilgit and Baltistan, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, including Gilgit and Baltistan, sir, are they next on the agenda of the Narendra Modi government?
I am not going to talk about that. I am talking about something which is fact and lying before us, which every Indian must know the truth, and truth must be told.
Okay, the Law and Justice Minister of India says no one is above criticism, and students of history are seeing facts that are emerging, as he puts it, perhaps for the first time in public domain. Mr. Rijiju, for joining me here on India Today, many thanks.